What is going on, buddy? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode number 38 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series, the Australian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And as always, if you're new around here, then make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues on. So, round 3 then takes us to the remodified Albert Park circuit for the Australian Grand Prix. It should be very exciting. Of course, the recent changes in the last few years have made the race in the real life a lot more entertaining. So hopefully it's been more of the same here. But a few more upgrades to make, of course. The ones we made the first episode are coming through for this episode, and as a result we've got a number of more points to spend, so we'll put those across towards all the upgrades we can across the board here, nice and quickly. So we've got 6 upgrades, sorry, in 4 different departments, which will help us try and close that gap to Ferrari and Red Bull. Have a look here at all the upgrades we got in. So 2 on aero, 1 on chassis, 2 on durability, and 1 on the powertrain as well, to help us try and bridge that gap. We're still comfortably the 3rd fastest team right now, but still quite a gap to close in. But there's plenty of time to do it left in this season. Have a look at the championship standings. Sainz leads the way on 41 points. We sit 6 points behind him, but Verstappen just 5 points back from us in 3rd. So it's all still to play for, very close early on, and of course just 6 points covering the top 3 teams in the Constructors' Championship as well. So we'll look to advance time here and get set for what should be, no doubt, a very entertaining Australian Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to it, of course. Another race to try and rectify after last season's crash there in round 14. Only a few races to go, so make sure to go check the video out if you haven't done it already. We'll have one last look here across the board just to see if we can make any upgrades prior to the next race. Nothing more to be done. So without further ado, let's head over to Melbourne and get this race weekend underway. Let's jump right into qualifying. So here we go then, time for qualifying to get the Australian Grand Prix weekend underway. There we are then, hot off the win in Saudi Arabia and looking to go back-to-back if we can. Of course, Mercedes still not quite close enough to challenge the Red Bulls and Ferraris on every single track, but on our day we are quick enough to do that, as proved last time out in Saudi Arabia. Obviously chasing Sainz down the majority of the way. Of course, as I say, the crash that we're looking to try and rectify here after last season's Grand Prix. We crashed at the exit of turn 2, only a few laps to go in the Grand Prix, but by that point we were out of the points anyway, so it was unfortunate, and as a result Red Bull obviously dropped us from the team going into 2022, so that's when we're out. Mercedes, this place almost sort of spawned the path we've taken in our career so far. So off the last corner then, to begin our first flying lap, teammate Lewis Hamilton not too far behind the team, emerging from the last corner there as we come towards the line to begin our first lap. We'll try and go through some of the modifications if we can. Of course, turn 1 made a lot less tight going into that first corner. Obviously turn 2 more or less the same on corner exit, but obviously changed slightly as a result of how turn 1 has been adjusted. Going down towards turn 3 though, the first DRS straight on the circuit into the braking zone, which has obviously made also a lot less tight, a lot wider. There's a lot more runoff on corner exits, so we'll have to try and avoid that over the course of the day. Through turn 4 then, keeping things under control. Turn 5 now almost completely boarded off there on corner exits, make our way through, and we'll complete our first sector of the day. It's a 27.6 in sector 1, so let's try and improve on that as time goes by. Pushing on now towards the last sector, of course, down at turns 11 and 12. These two now almost quite tight in terms of almost practically a 90-degree turn there compared to what it used to be. Of course, it used to be a lot more, used to come a lot more up to the corner. But making our way up towards the last 2 corners now, turn 13 and 14 on the circuit. Of course, some of these curves have been raised a fair bit, but obviously further into the curve, so we'll try and avoid that over the course of the race. Off the last corner then, Schumacher set the first time. We'll try and beat that as we run down towards the lines, complete our first lap, 1 minute 19.736. Hamilton comes in just behind, beats us, 1 minute 19.2. So a lot of work to be done to try and close Lewis down on our second run, so we make our way back through turns 1 and 2 again. Accelerate time here, Sainz and Perez and Alonso jumping us too. Leclerc and Verstappen both coming through. Leclerc and Verstappen on the front row right now. 1 minute 18.8 from Leclerc, so a lot of work still to be done on our second lap. But of course, our second lap, so we improved a fair bit in qualifying last time out, so hope's not lost just yet. Halfway through the lap here and going down towards turn number 9 and off, and end of our run. Currently half a second up as it stands, or just under half a second up, as I make our way in towards the final sector now. Into chicane, turns 9 and 10. Want to try and avoid going over the curves too much there, but you're allowed a lot more in terms of runoff now. That curve doesn't quite spin you out as it did on the last 2 games. As we come down towards turn 11 once again, as I say, a lot tighter here. They've got to brake a lot more going in. I want to try and avoid that red curve on entry. So make our way now through turn 12, which is more or less the same, a bit wider again in terms of runoff. You can run through a corner a lot more smoothly now. And into the last 2 corners here, 7 tenths up, 8 tenths up. It's going to be very tight. We could try and take pole position. There's been no real improvements here. We come off the last corner to complete our qualifying run. 8.5 tenths up, charging towards the line. P7 on the grid right now. It'll take us up to 3rd place. So top 3 start then. Decent stuff, and our second lap once again saw us make a lot of improvements, and we'll start P3 for the race.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Leclerc, Sainz and Cohen. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
So Leclerc on pole and Sainz locks out the front row. We line up in third place in front of Verstappen, then Perez, Hamilton, Alonso, Norris, Ocon and Bottas is your top 10. Honestly, I'm liking the position here. The Ferraris are going to be tough to catch, but there's only one way to find out if we can catch them, and that's to jump into the Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome from Melbourne, a track modified since we last raced here in Albert Park, and I think with the changes, it's going to be a classic. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Cohen, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Pierre Gasly, and Tsunoda, Joe, Magnussen, Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon, Vettel, and Nicholas Latifi. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
So here we go then, no more talking, time for action here on the grid from P3 from the Australian Grand Prix round 3 of the 2022 season. In terms of strategy, I'm looking at a one-stop again. Obviously, you guys know the drill by now, mediums to hards, not making any use of that soft tyre, but at some stage we'll try and do that over the course of the season. We won't just do mediums to hards throughout the entire season, but obviously no change to be made there. We'll lower the fuel a bit, but I'm not too sure in terms of how low we have to go. So we'll keep it at 30.5 for now. That should go us to the end of the race.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Here we go then, formation lap now underway. Two outliers in terms of starting tyres. Leclerc and Verstappen, sorry, Sainz and Verstappen starting on the soft tyre, but everyone else is on the mediums. What could that bring in the race?
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So through turn 14 then and getting set to go 29 laps to the checkered flag here in Melbourne, and it should be a very, very entertaining Grand Prix here as the leaders obviously come to the starting grid there. Leclerc is on pole, Sainz is alongside him. Like I say, it's going to be tough to beat those two Ferraris today, but I think given the right circumstances, we could do it. And obviously we have Lewis backing us up over the course of the Grand Prix. That's also help us here. Perhaps a safety car could come into play, as I said on the broadcast, but you never really know. Because with a safety car in the first two rounds so far this season, could we see that trend continue and go 3 for 3 in this campaign as the last two cars take their slots on the grid to get this Grand Prix underway? But it's time now to bring the action. Here come the lights in Melbourne for the third race of the 2022 season. The Australian Grand Prix about to get underway. Lights out, foot to the floor, and we are racing here. Good start from Sainz on the right-hand side, going towards turn 1. Poor start from us. There goes Verstappen, jumping through towards turn 1. Sainz in the lead, Leclerc second, Verstappen third. Hamilton tries the inside, going towards that first corner. He's going to back out, going through turn 1. We go off the grass, onto the runoff bit, through turn 2. But down a place on the start. The soft tyres have worked out massively for Verstappen and Sainz. They've both gained a place each here as they make their way down towards turn 3 for the first time. Sainz is starting to check out already. Leclerc and Verstappen nose to tail right now. Hamilton just behind us and Perez in P6. So a slow start, an unfortunate start. We lost the place already here. Let's try and work and get that back. But I think Verstappen will be more concerned in taking on Leclerc here to make way through the second sector. Onto that end, that number 2 here. Verstappen has dispatched Leclerc and starting to chase after Sainz now. We sit still in 4th place, but right on the tail of the Monegasque in the other Ferrari. So mediums still as strong on our car as it is on his. It's come to the last corner. Yellow flag in behind us. What's happened to one of the cars further back? Let's see what's actually happened. Who's gone out? Is a yellow flag still continuing on? Let's make our way onto lap 2 here. DRS enabled. It's Ocon. Sorry, lap 3. It's Ocon who's out of the race. So our first retirement is Esteban Ocon in the Alpine at the last corner. What's happened to the Frenchman there as he makes his way through turn 12 on the replay? We'll see exactly what's happened to the car. He just pulls over to the side. There's no smoke or anything until he comes through turn 13. There's the puff of smoke, and that tells you all you need to know. That's the telltale sign that a car is retiring, and in this case, it is unfortunately Ocon. No safety car though. We'll carry on as we are as he pulls the car over to the pit entry there, going through turn 14. So everyone else will continue on as we push on to the end lap number 3 now. We should see Ocon on our right-hand side. It was still hunting Leclerc for the third place as of right now. There is Ocon on the right-hand side. Hamilton about 7 tenths back from us right now. It's not giving us any pressure as you come through to begin lap number 4 of this Grand Prix. We have DRS in play, but we're not catching Leclerc as of yet. He's keeping his distance right now. Verstappen about 2.5 in front of us. On to lap 6 and going towards the last sector here. Let's try and make another move on Charles this time. Going for our first real move of the race. Bit wide there on corner exit, but we're still right on his tail going down towards the braking zone of turn 11. Of course, he's going to allow a lot more braking here. Going to try and go down the inside of the Monegasque into the right-hander. He locks up, and Leclerc goes off the circuit, almost goes off the circuit, keeps it under wraps only just, but obviously, as a result, he's lost the place though. So P3 in our possession now. We'll get to work on trying to hunt down Verstappen and Sainz, the 2 leaders in this Grand Prix, on the soft tyres. So it's worked out fantastically for them. Right now, but Sainz is 4.5 in front of us. Verstappen is 3.6. So Verstappen's still in DRS range and keeping pace with Sainz right now. But Leclerc now right on our tails. We come through onto lap 7 here. Sainz making his first stop of the Grand Prix. I imagine both Sainz and Verstappen will be doing different strategies to everyone else, given that they are starting on those soft tyres. Verstappen stays out though, so he'll maintain the lead for now. Leclerc still behind us now in 3rd place. We're into 2nd as we come through turn 1 to begin lap number 8 of this Grand Prix. Where will Sainz emerge, and crucially, will he get stuck in traffic? Because that could obviously hold a crucial detriment in terms of his Grand Prix. He's got quite a lead going in as Leclerc goes to the outside of the racetrack, going towards turn 4 into the braking zone. Sorry, into turn 3. We've got the right-hander to our advantage, and on corner exit going to pull back in front. We still can't clear him just yet, but going through turn 4 off our line a little bit, but taking the place away, maintaining the place rather, and holding on to P2 for the moment. But Verstappen will come in at the end of this next lap as we make our way onto the end of lap number 8 now. Verstappen in the pit lane, which means that for the first time today we will lead the Australian Grand Prix. Leclerc though right on our tail and desperate to try and get the lead off of us, and Hamilton now in P3, but Perez in P4. Verstappen on the hard tyres. Sainz changed onto the medium, so differing strategies between the 2 soft tyre runners early on this Grand Prix. I have to see what sort of effect that has later on in the race, but I'll keep an eye here on lap 11, keeping our eye on where Verstappen and Sainz are on the racetrack, because likely they will rejoin in front of us, but if they've been held up by any traffic at all, that could help us try and close down that lead they gained in their first stint. As Hamilton sits behind us, 1-2 for Mercedes right now as we come through turn at number 8 and down towards all the way down towards turn 9 at the very end of this straight here. Of course, no DRS on this iteration of the circuit. That'll be in for next year as we come through towards turn 9. Hamilton's still in our wake. There's smoke from the Mercedes there, and that's a big problem. Lewis Hamilton going out of this Grand Prix. And that's not a good sign when you're Hamilton's teammate and see the Mercedes go up in smoke behind you. Lewis pulls the car over. Game over for the Brit. And we're down to 18 cars in this race now. And will our Mercedes hang on now to the end of the race? That's our main concern at this point in the Grand Prix, because the power unit will start to get worn here. Not enough to a danger point, but it was round 3 last season where our power unit first gave way, the turbocharger in Portugal. Onto that 13 though, Leclerc keeping his distance. We're about almost a second in front of him here as we make our way through to make our first and only stop of this Grand Prix onto the hard tyres. Through to turn 14 into the pit lane now, trying to avoid that pit limiter, and truthfully the manual pit stop coming up here gave me a brief heart attack in terms of lowering the speed for pit entry, but coming in nice and easy here, optimal turn in, and we'll make our release from the pit lane here. 2.4 second stop out on the hard tyres and back in front of Leclerc and Perez, but Sainz and Verstappen go charging on through, and Lando Norris now leads the Grand Prix. He didn't pit this time round. I imagine we'll see him in next time onto lap 15. As we emerge from the pit lane though, Leclerc is right on our tail. We've got a few cars joining the racetrack next to us. I think that's Mick Schumacher in the Haas on the left-hand side, closing on both of us as we get to turn 1. We emerge with the place regardless, but obviously cold tyres will struggle on those early on the lap as we push further onto lap 14 now. Leclerc right on our tail, a few corners later, going wide there at turn number 5 and making our way towards 6 now. Leclerc is going right behind us, pulls to the inside for that right-hander. He makes his way through, run wide there, run too deep in the corner to allow him room. He falls away, but he's still right behind us, and Schumacher on those medium tyres could still pose a threat to us at this stage of the Grand Prix. He's still right there, giving us constant pressure. Leclerc to the inside, he'll take P4 away now, and Schumacher might try the outside going down towards turn 9 here. We'll have DRS off of Leclerc going towards turn 11 crucially as we come through the chicane once again through turns 9 and 10. On corner X a bit wide there over the curbs, but jumping on back on DRS again and trying to close back in on Leclerc, but not to no avail right now. But Schumacher crucially didn't pass us. On to lap 18 of this Grand Prix now. I think we're seeing Carlos Sainz coming in for his last stop of this Grand Prix. He's on a 2-stop strategy because went onto a set of mediums. I think he's going for a set of soft here for the end of the Grand Prix. He's going for another set of mediums, sorry. Verstappen stayed out on a set of hard tyres. I think he's doing a one-stop, and it's going to work out from here because he's on course to win this thing with no challenge from Carlos Sainz. But crucially, he's going to emerge behind us, and we're going to see in terms of how long it takes him to actually chase myself, Leclerc and Perez down at this stage of the Grand Prix. So Sainz makes his exit, coming out just behind the Red Bull of Perez. They're going towards turn 1. So Sainz now has work to do, but he's got a lot fresher tyres to do it on. He's making his way through turn 2 now and back onto the racetrack and back up to. And obviously his next target is Sergio Perez in 4th place there. Our next target is still Charles Leclerc. We're still chasing him on lap 19 of this Grand Prix. Still a long way to go though, so 10 laps to go in this thing. And further on to lap 19, we'll get another chance to DRS here. We might try and go for another dive as we did earlier on the Grand Prix. Leclerc on our outside now doesn't lock up this time. It gives us the room, and on the inside, no contact required in any way, which is always fortunate in Formula 1. Making that move stick up into back into second place, but Verstappen 11.3 in front of us. I think by this point he is checked out. This race is over for him and he's won it, provided nothing goes wrong. He's up to 13.4 seconds on lap 22, and Sainz is now right on our tails here. Leclerc and Perez also there. Leclerc to the outside, going up towards turn number 3 here into the braking zone. The Ferrari was briefly in front, got the better line going through. He'll fall away. Leclerc locks up actually, going towards turn 3. So full advantage taken of that. Perez goes through, and Sainz now side by side with his teammate. Sainz dispatches the Monegasque in the hard tyres in the Ferrari. So one Ferrari's gone, got to deal with the other one now. Onto lap 24.
Okay, information on Verstappen. They've got an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Verstappen's got a problem at this point of the Grand Prix. Not a retiring problem, but a problem that will slow him up. And that could be crucial for us. If he slows up enough, that could give us a chance to try and win this race. But Sainz is still not letting us breathe right now. On to the end of lap 24, start lap 25. 5 more laps to go in Melbourne, and a fresh tyre Ferrari is right on our chuff here, going towards turn 1. Sainz to the inside into the braking zone, giving the room, going through turn 1 and through turn 2. Obviously off of the rumble strips a little bit there, but taking full advantage of the line we can, and holding on to P2 for now. But Sainz might make this a lot more difficult for us. On to lap 26, Verstappen 11.4 in front of us. Still second in the title race as of right now. Imagine Verstappen may jump us, as obviously we're gaining points on Sainz as it is, unless he tries to get us here towards turn 1 again. This time Sainz well in front. Let's try and sweep in and try to take the place back. This time Sainz falls away, not as good an entry into turn 1 this time. And hold off both Perez and Leclerc for us here, so it puts us under a bit less pressure. On to lap 28 now, heading on towards the final lap of this race. Sainz still right behind us, not letting us breathe one bit, as he did last time out in Saudi Arabia. Last time it was for the win, this time it's for P2 though, but Sainz have DRS at the last corner as he come through to start the bell lap here in Australia. One more to go. Sainz to the inside of the racetrack looking for, the outside of the racetrack looking for that second spot. He gets in front of us going towards turn 1. Let's try and get him back here, but a lock up. The Spaniard locks up going through turn 1. He's lost several places there. Perez around him for P3. That was very, very tight there. Lucky there was no contact made, but up into second place now and on course to hold it for the closing moments of this Grand Prix. Still a lap left to go though, and still several DRS zones left to tackle in this thing as we come through on towards turn 10, turn 9 for the last time. Perez is right behind us here, half a second back, and we'll have DRS, the two Ferraris squabbling for P4 right now. Bit of a slide there from corner exit. Perez might try and close in on us now, going down towards turn 11, so it gets super tight. Perez to the outside of the racetrack, going in towards the braking zone. We've got the inside line going in, no contact, still side by side on corner exit. Just about clear and force him off onto the curbs there. Verstappen's coming through to take his first victory of the season off the last corner. The Dutchman back on top and now set to make his title ambitions clear. Verstappen wins down under, and we're coming through behind him to take P2 from this Grand Prix. It looked tough to beat those two Ferraris, but both Mercedes and Red Bull have done it. Ferrari come home as the third place team in today's race. P2 for us across the line. Obviously Shane Lewis couldn't finish it, so that cost us in Constructors' Championship points, but it'll give the Drivers' Championship nice and close. But has Verstappen jumped us, or have we gained enough on Sainz to take the lead for ourselves at this point? We'll have to find out when we get to the standings in a matter of time, but still, what a race that was.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
So Verstappen then triumphs here in Melbourne. We finish in second place, and Sergio Perez makes it a double Red Bull podium in third place. I was particularly nervous that Perez was going to catch us at the very end of the race there. Perhaps go for a late move that we didn't see coming, but didn't go for it. We maintained P2 in that Grand Prix, taking full advantage of Sainz making that two-stop. And I wonder what they were thinking down at Ferrari. Classic Ferrari disaster class in terms of strategy. But the celebrations begin then, particularly for Red Bull, as I imagine they'll take the lead in both championships now. And we'll see how close the standings are after we look at the final results of this thrilling Australian Grand Prix.
Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
Often, my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings, and Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Have a look at the rest of the results in this Grand Prix. Sainz finishes in 4th place in the end, beats Leclerc for 5th. Alonso finishes 6th, and Norris, Ricciardo, Gasly and Bottas rounds out the top 10 off of the podium. But still, a fantastic race there. I think if Verstappen had that problem any earlier, we could have potentially caught him in the closing laps, but it wasn't to be in the end. In terms of the standings then, Verstappen now leads by just 1 point over Sainz and 2 points over us. So we're down 1 place in the standings. Verstappen with the win, taking the place, but it's very, very close. 2 points between 3 drivers. Could this be a three-way title fight between 3 different teams in the driver's standings? You never know. But for Red Bull, now lead by 16 over Ferrari and 27 over us at Mercedes. Lewis risks retirement, giving us big damage in terms of the standings. But we'll fight back and we'll come back for the next Grand Prix, which will be the first sprint race of the series. But guys, that'll do it for this episode of the F1 Ultimate Career Series. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more future F1 content. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.